Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now call the meeting of the School Board of Palm Beach County to order at 5:02 p.m. on May 19, 2021. Mrs. Bass, please call the roll.
District 1, Barbara McQuinn. Here. District 2, Alexandria Ayala.
Here.
District 3, Karen Brill.
Here.
District 4, Erica Whitfield.
Here.
District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
Here.
All right, we have quorum with all 7 board members in attendance. Also joining us is Superintendent Dr. Donald FENNOY, General Counsel Sean Bernard, Inspector General Teresa Michael, Board Clerk Carol Bass, and our student representative, County Council of Student Council's President Santiago Alvarez for his last meeting before graduation, and he's joining us via virtual link this evening. Senior staff members will join us periodically as directed by the superintendent. Viewers and listeners can access the meeting today by either watching on Comcast channels 234 and 235, AT&T UVerse channel 99, or by using the YouTube link on our webpage at palmbeachschools.org. In the event that the link is interrupted for technical reasons, please switch over to the TV channels. All board meetings are recorded in their entirety and posted on the district website within 24 hours. We also offer a listening-only option, which the public can access by calling 561-357-5900 or toll-free at 1-866-930-7015. The meeting ID is 1-561-880-1124 #. This meeting is being transcribed by a closed captioner, so remember to speak at a reasonable pace. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Superintendent Dr. Donald FENNOY.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome any public speakers who are joining us in person today. While your attendance here at the board meeting is appreciated, please be mindful of important safety protocols that the board now has in place to conform with COVID-19 safety guidelines and school board policies. The School District of Palm Beach County supports the peaceful assembly of persons to express themselves regarding matters concerning district students, employees, and the community. However, if such peaceful assembly results in a disturbance, those persons may be subject to arrest or other lawful actions, so please be respectful of all persons who are present on school district property. In an effort to keep all participants and district employees safe, everyone must obey all lawful orders issued by law enforcement, which may include remaining or moving to a specific area or location, lowering voices for safety reasons, or other safety-related commands. Please sit only in designated seats, do not move any furniture, and do not move about the room unless you are speaking at the podium, exiting to the bathroom, or leaving the building. Please maintain social distancing as directed by school police at all times. Remain in the designated areas and leave the property once your visit is complete. School police have been instructed to remove anyone from the meeting who does not adhere to these safety protocols and procedures as I have outlined. Please respect this cautionary warning that in the event of interference with the orderly processes of the meeting, failure to follow the safety protocols and procedures or otherwise disruptive conduct will result in removal of the person from the meeting or other action. Thank you in advance for helping to maintain decorum and the orderly conduct of school board business. Board members, we have 7 items. It's my understanding we have people in the Thurber conference room with their masks pulled down. Please put your mask back over your nose or mouth while you're in the building. If you don't want to do that, you can go to the non-masked room where we have made arrangements for people that do not want to wear masks. Thank you. Board members, we have 10 sets of minutes to be approved on the agenda. We need a motion. Motion by Mrs. Andrews, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We have several items being added for good cause this evening. Items that are being added are AD1, District Reorganization Proposal, P2, Job Descriptions, P3, Personnel Addendum. Good cause exists to add these items as this reorganization is recommended as part of the ongoing continuous improvement focus to enhance the performance of our A-rated school district and ensure alignment to our strategic objectives. Items added, COM6 and COM7, Jewish American Heritage Month Proclamation and Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month Proclamation. Good cause exists to add these two items so that they can be included in this month's recognitions. LD1 is being added, authorization of settlement of Brian Lee versus Tammy Pierre et al., Brian Lee versus Tammy Pierre et al., and Brian Lee versus School Board of Palm Beach County. Good cause exists for adding this item as counsel for the parties agreed on the final language after the agenda was released. The parties requested immediate action from the school board to avoid any additional expenditures of time and costs that could be incurred by filing extensions, etc. Mr. Superintendent, do you have any items to withdraw?
I have none to withdraw at this time.
Board members, are you pulling any items from the agenda? Seeing none, we need a motion to approve the agenda as published. Motion by Vice Chairwoman Brill, seconded by Dr. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Are there any disclosures or abstentions? Seeing none, Mr. Superintendent, take you to your comments.
Yes, sir. I'd like to begin by welcoming members of the public joining us today, both in person and from home. I'd also like to thank those of you who have reached out via email to our board offices. Today's agenda includes several topics about which the board and I have heard varying opinions. The intention of discussion is not to be polarizing. The goal today and always is to act in the best interest of our children. Our perspectives are valued, input is encouraged, but we also must remember the importance of respectful discourse. This afternoon, we have a very long list of speakers. Our request is that each speaker gives other speakers the respect that they deserve. Looking ahead to next year and beyond, we have a lot to look forward to as our district grows. This fall, students returning to 3 schools will be welcomed at new state-of-the-art facilities. Addison Meisner, K-8, located in Boca Raton, has been completely modernized. The school will feature 32 primary classrooms, 28 intermediate classrooms, and a great deal of other interactive learning and recreational space, including a covered play area. Students returning to Washington Elementary and Riviera Beach are also in for a treat. The modernization there includes new buildings, updates to existing buildings, and educational and technological and physical infrastructure enhancements. And this fall, Plumosa School of the Arts in Delray Beach expands from an elementary school to what will be a K-8 school. 6th grade will begin this fall, and 7th and 8th grades will be added over the following 2 years. Plumosa boasts a large new building for the upper grades, as well as a beautiful arts wing, which will accommodate dancers, musicians, and other artists, and a grand presentation area to showcase all of the talented students attending school there. Looking even further into the future, a new elementary school will open in Boca Raton in the fall of 2022, and a new high school will open west of Lake Worth in 2023. This video will give you a look at what's planned for those 2 schools.
The vision of both of these schools will be to educate, affirm, and inspire each student in an equity-embedded environment.
The elementary school, Elementary 05C, basically is going to be located at the current holding site for Addison Meisner, which was previously the holding site for Verde Elementary, just south of Don Estridge High-Tech Middle School. The 3-story portion is housing the classroom wings. The 2-story portion is housing the administration suite on the 1st floor and the media center on the 2nd floor. And the 1-story component is housing the cafeteria, kitchen, science and art labs, and custodial receiving area.
In addition to meeting the basic grade level standards, the curriculum at 05C will prepare students for a future where collaboration, inquiry, and innovation will be a major role.
High school is it's going to be located just north of Woodlands Middle School. It sits in approximately 47 acres of land. This high school is going to house 2,703 students.
Just in the area, John I. Leonard is very overcrowded, Palm Beach Central is very overcrowded, Park Vista is overcrowded, Santa Lucia's is overcrowded. So hopefully Chippewa, the new high school in Western Lake Worth, will provide relief to all of those schools. The high school will be offering a plethora of rigorous courses, including advanced placement and ACE coursework. So students coming from other high schools will be able to continue with their ACE diploma. The athletic complex will include a 4,000-seat stadium, gymnasium, baseball and softball field, weight room, wrestling room, and what I find really, really special is they have 2 additional practice fields. School will also include a state-of-the-art media center and a high-tech auditorium.
We are very excited and looking forward to these two new schools and excited about starting construction this summer. And at the end of the day, what we want is for the community to be proud of these schools and have their students in these schools.
So very exciting news. There's been a lot of hard work. My hat goes off to Wanda Paul and the entire construction and maintenance planning team for everything they're doing with our new schools. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Elena Alonso to the podium to share information with the board about our public health in Palm Beach County.
Okay, looks like I'm on. Thank you very much, Dr. FENNOY. Pleasure being here, and the rest of the school board members. It's been too long since I came here last time. It's been a while. Thank you for having me. So I have a presentation. What I'll do is I'll say next to move the slides forward. I'm concentrating on a couple of things. I want to give you the status of our numbers of cases, our amount of virus in the community based on the transmission of the virus, the number of cases, and then I'm going to concentrate on where the cases are coming from and vaccinations. So that should wrap up the presentation. So our first presentation should be coming up. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, there it is. So this first graph shows you the U.S. number of COVID cases. I have dates there just to compare our first spike back in April of 20. Then we had the spike after the 4th of July. After the summer, we had the Memorial Day weekend and the 4th of July, and we had the spike on the 16th of July of 20 with 78,000 cases that we had in one day. And then towards the middle of that next curve, as things were coming down, we started thinking about opening school. School to open on, does anybody remember when you opened? September 21st, right? Did I get that date right?
That is correct.
Okay, so that comes right around where that flat area is. And then we had a plan to slowly open, and so everything opened at one time. The school opened, and then we started to get a lot of cases, and that's when we had our super spike, our worst increase in numbers, which peaked on January 2nd of 21. After that, after January, we started coming down. The vaccines started to become available. And so we have seen it starting to go down. We were a little bit concerned in early March when we saw two little humps, and we actually saw some increases on March 24th with an increase of 86,000. Then it went to 79,000, and then it started going back down 67,000. So the section in red is the past month to the latest date of now in the 16th of this month, and we see that the cases have actually gone down. So our numbers as of yesterday, or actually as of the 19th, is 32,998,197 cases in the U.S. with 587,000 deaths, and we have vaccinated 275,016,916 actual vaccines have gone out. We're hoping to be at 300 very shortly, but as you know, the number of vaccines have actually gone down, and I've got a graph to show you that. So our cases in the U.S. are going down, and the deaths are going down a little bit slower than the number of cases, but they have been coming down in the past 30 days for both of those. All that information is on the CDC Track It app that they have that shows you you can go into your specific county and look at all these numbers. Next. So the first thing we're looking at is the level of community transmission. It is good news that for the U.S., we have gone from the high, which is the dark red color. We have gone from high to sustainable, which is the dark orange color. And we still see Florida, however, in that dark high transmission level because we still have a lot of virus in Florida. Next slide. As compared to the transmission, then we look at cases. So we're still in the dark blue, which is from 8,000 to 22,000 cases in the last 7 days. But we have a lot less states that are in the dark blue. So Florida, Texas, California, New York, they're still in the dark blue. But again, our number of cases have been coming down. Next slide. Now we're looking at transmission in Florida itself. So again, the state has gone, we still have high transmission in Broward, Palm Beach, and those red sections, but Palm Beach County has gone down, and now we're at substantial transmission. So that is a good sign. And you can also see that in the Panhandle, you have some areas that actually are all the way down to moderate, but we're still nowhere under low transmission. So we still have a ways to go in Florida. Next slide. So let's take a number of cases in Florida. The dark blue, we're no longer in the dark blue of over 5,000. We're now in the 1,000 to 5,000 numbers. And Palm Beach, Broward, Dade, and not surprisingly, Hillsborough, and some of the other counties are also in that second layer. So we still have a lot of cases, but they're definitely coming down, so that is good news. Next slide. So how do we look like here? We have the numbers for our cases in Florida versus Palm Beach County as of today, or as of yesterday at 3 p.m. We had a total of 2.2 million cases in Florida, 93,388 hospitalizations, 36,227 deaths, and that represented 2,805 new cases, 240 new hospitalizations, and a total reported death of 94 deaths. So those numbers are lower than they were before, so that's a good sign. In Palm Beach County, we have 146,951 with 118 new cases. We're very happy to see those low numbers for the hundreds of new cases as opposed to the 1,000 that we were at one point. We have 7,059 hospitalizations, that's 8 new hospitalizations, and 2,827 deaths since the beginning, with 1 new death reported. When you look across, and that might be too small for you to see, but when you look across, the first 4 boxes have to do with our hospitalizations, how many hospital beds we have, and how many of those hospital beds are tied up with COVID patients. So right now we're at 26% of the total hospital beds are COVID beds. In the ICU, we have about 9.8% of the ICU beds are COVID beds, and the ventilators are 33%. We've never had problems with ventilators in Palm Beach County. We've got plenty of ventilators available, and actually the ventilators are being used less now due to the fact that we know how to treat the patients better when they come into the hospital. So those are all good numbers. The most important number is that as of Monday, our daily positivity, which tells us how much virus we have spread in the community, is the lowest it's been in a very long time, since our first increase that we had back in October, and it's 2.89. As a result of that daily positivity going down, the total positivity will also start coming down. That number is at 16.44 and needs to be below 10 before those numbers go down to the transmission levels of our county and the transmission levels for Florida. So you can see that these are the numbers that affect the amount of virus that's in the community and helps you to make decisions as to how you go forward. Hopefully these numbers continue to go down. Next slide. Next slide. All right, this is the age distribution of those new cases. So out of those new cases that we're indicating, of that 123 new cases that we had, 87% are between the ages of 5 and 64. Only 12% are above the age of 65, okay? Now, the number that is very significant is the ages between the age of 5 and 14. That number has increased from below 5% to 15%. We have had 18 cases of children between the ages of 5 and 14 come down with COVID. We've had 70 hospitalizations, 1 death. Now, that's not a new death. We have not had any new deaths in those children. The concern with those numbers, thank you. The concern with these numbers is that the 5 to 14 don't have the ability to get the vaccine yet, okay? And also the fact that when I'm gonna look at the next set of numbers I'm gonna show you, you see that that age group, that 87%, have the less people vaccinated. So let's look at the next slide. This is the vaccine. The vaccines have gone down. This is a normal curve that you see based on the number, once there is sufficient supply, when the supply supersedes the demand, the curve goes down, right? And that is normal. We're expected, so now we have to work harder to get more people vaccinated. There are 2 numbers that are being used to show people being vaccinated. One is the total number of people vaccinated, and the other one is the series completed. So when we say total people vaccinated, that means they've just gotten 1 vaccine, or the 2, right? So they add those 2 up. So the total people vaccinated for Florida is 43%, for Palm Beach County, it's 46%. But the series completed, that's the one where you have full protection, for the state is only 34, and for Palm Beach County, it's 36.6. Now, again, the problem in that is that who are the ones that have been vaccinated? 84% of our over 65 have been vaccinated. So that 36% is misleading because most of those people are 85 and over, or 65 and over, I'm sorry. All right? So let's take a look at the next graph, at the next data, which shows you in the first section, the number of individuals 16 to 19 that have been vaccinated. For Palm Beach County, that's only 26%. Broward and Dade have higher numbers. Florida has 24%. So we tend to run a little higher than Florida, but lower than Broward and Dade. And that is across the board. So when you look at the 20 to 24, 30%, 25 to 29, we're at 28%. And so you see across the board that it's not until you get to the last section on the bottom right, 65 and over, where we're way ahead of Broward and Dade and the state, and we're at 84%. So we've done a great job here in Palm Beach County vaccinating those over 65, but we're nowhere near the numbers we need to be in the younger age group. And those are the people that are actually getting the new cases. So we have a plan to look at this in 3 sections. 1, to look at how to vaccinate that younger age group. We're gonna be approaching the school-age kids with their parents and their friends to get vaccinated. We will be working with the healthcare district's mobile units to increase our access in that area. We're also gonna be going into the areas in terms of where there's entertainment, such as Clematis, Atlantic Avenue, the Riviera Beach Marina, and other areas where we have high concentration of that age group to attract them and to get them to get the vaccine. The last group is we're going to be using our zip code map to take a look at where we have underrepresentation of vaccine uptake in the zip codes, and we'll be taking our mobile units there to get those people vaccinated. All of our government sites are going to stop vaccinating, and we're going to be relying on our pharmacies and our mobile units. And we at the health department have decided to stay at the Mid-City Senior Center and remain there throughout the summer to make sure that we continue to have government access for vaccines for those who may not be able to get it otherwise. The vaccines are free, but some places are charging for them, so beware and make sure that people can still get the vaccines at CVS, Walgreens, and other pharmacies. They're advertising them, they are free. pbcgov.org is an excellent source to take a look at what pharmacies are available, who has vaccine, and what type of vaccine is available. Also, another very good site is vaccines.gov. That's a very simple site to remember, vaccines with an S.gov, and you can put your zip code and it will tell you what you can choose by the type of vaccine, whether you want Pfizer, Moderna, or J&J. It tells you which pharmacies have supply and how to get an appointment or whether you can walk in. Next slide. So, as I conclude, I have 4 concerns. 1, the confusion that's been caused by the CDC and the president statements regarding vaccinated individuals not needing to wear masks outdoors or indoors. But the statement that hasn't been emphasized says, unless in crowded circumstances. The vaccine is an incredible vaccine. It's a great feast in terms of science, of being able to make a vaccine that is very specific to a protein spike on the coronavirus. But it's 95% effective. That means 5%. There is breakthrough and people have died even with the vaccine. So we still, and everybody needs to be aware of that, right? Because it's not just you get the vaccine and it is an insurance that you're not going to get the corona. Now, most likely you're not going to have to go to the hospital and you're not going to die, but you can still die. So everybody needs to know that, not just a special group. All of us need to know that. And it's important that we have that information to make our decisions. The second concern is that the recommendations to continue the use of the masks indoors for non-vaccinated individuals or for those who are unable to get vaccinated is concerning, especially for those 5 to 11-year-olds that are unable to get vaccinated at this point. So please keep those people in mind and remember that until the vaccine lowers, which hopefully through the summer they will be able to go down to lower ages, those people are not able to get
Ladies and
vaccinated.
gentlemen, I'll clear the room if you don't stop. Let her speak, please.
The third concern has to do with the fact that the next couple months is going to determine whether we have the 4th spike that some folks are estimating due to the crowds and the Memorial Day, the 4th of July, like we did the spike the last time, or if by vaccinating we're able to keep those numbers continuing to go down. That I am staying very cautiously optimistic that that is what's going to happen and that people will continue to do the right things. The 4th concern is how we in the workforce are going to have to take a look at how the contact tracing will affect not only our children, but also our workforce when we have to quarantine if there's a case or an outbreak. If you're vaccinated, you will not have to be quarantined. But if you're not vaccinated, then staff and children in schools will have to go home and be quarantined. So when that happens, just like that happens with if there's an outbreak of measles or hepatitis or anything else, you're going to have to take into consideration how you're going to deal with that. For us, in our department, for example, that's a big concern because we don't have that much staff available. If we lose, 10% of our staff at one time, we can't do our job. So that is something that you're going to have to take in consideration of how you're able to get over those issues and how you're gonna plan in the future for that to occur. So, with that, I will conclude. Thank you for having me. I hope you have enough information so that we, will continue to do what we have to do. I continue to wear my mask. I have a 93-year-old mother and a sister who's immune suppressed as well as I am. And so therefore, for me, it is important to continue to wear my mask, and I certainly wear it when I'm in a crowd, even if I am outdoors. So, continue to wash your hands, of course, and disinfect your areas. This school board has done a terrific job. The fact that you have had no transmission inside the school is amazing. It's because of the great work that you have done and how well you have done your hygiene and your masking and everything else that you have done to protect your staff and the kids. So continue to do a good job in that, and let's hope that the next 3 months we'll continue to vaccinate and continuing to see those numbers going down so we can start the new school in a more normal fashion that we're all looking forward to.
Thank you, Dr.
Have any
Alonso. If you can,
questions?
yeah, let me see if there's any questions, board members. Mrs. Andrews, then Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Alonso. May we get a copy of your PowerPoint? Can you make sure that we get that? And I know Miami-Dade has pods at the schools right now working on vaccines for those 12 to 15. Is that something that's being talked about with the healthcare district?
Yes,
and
the
health
healthcare
department?
district is ready, as soon as you give them the go-ahead to be able to start that. They're ready to go.
Mrs. Whitfield.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I wanted to talk about contact tracing next year when we have optional masks. So you're saying that if a person in the classroom gets COVID, we would have to send everybody to quarantine who is not vaccinated? They'd have to be home for 14 days because we can't contact trace with the masks, or people who are wearing masks
No.
wouldn't have to quarantine, or how does that work?
The contract tracing will be done exactly the same way it is now. So one of the things that saves you from not being quarantined is you were using 6-foot distancing, wearing your mask, right? And the hygiene that's being done in the schools. So without the masks, that goes away. And then now you're at 3 feet, so that goes away. So you're gonna have a lot more people that will have to get quarantined unless they're vaccinated. And obviously your 5 to 11-year-olds still won't be able to be vaccinated, so they don't have an opportunity to get vaccinated yet. So that is a group that you're gonna have to think that a lot of those kids are gonna have to go home if there's an outbreak. So I suggest that you continue doing very good hygiene and, you know, keeping things as clean as possible. If you're a mom, for example, that has to work, then I would probably make sure my kid's wearing the mask so they don't have to go home and if there is an outbreak. But that is something that each person has to make a decision on. But you as a workforce are gonna have to take a look at that in terms of your teachers as well as your custodians and everybody else that would be in an area that you would now have to consider going home that you didn't have to do during the situation you have now.
So can I also ask, have you heard out in the world if they're looking at vaccines for 5 to 11? Is that coming soon? Do you think it'll happen this summer?
I am hoping that it will happen this summer, yes. I think the studies are being done, and as soon as they release them, it'll be Pfizer again, probably the first ones, and they'll be able to lower it to 5.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brill and Mrs. McQuinn.
Thank you. Actually, Mrs. Whitfield's second question was the same as mine, so thank you.
All right.
Great minds think alike.
Mrs. McQuinn.
Thank you, Dr. Alonso, for being here with us again. I have a feeling you've grown a very thick body armor over the last year that maybe will give you a little bit of protection or exhaust you. I just want to make sure now that I am understanding when you had the, I don't remember which bullet it was under now, but there was confusion over the CDC and the recommendations. Now, if I remember correctly, isn't it this week, did the CDC come out and say specifically that schools were recommended to continue masking inside our buildings?
Yes, the CDC hasn't changed that.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't mishearing that.
Correct. There will also be masking in medical buildings, doctor's offices, many other situations, and certainly any private business that wants to continue doing, their masking, they will continue doing that also.
Mrs. Andrews?
Just at our last meeting, we were able to have our children go out to the playground to play, and they could unmask. And there was some confusion about whether they had to be 6 feet apart. Can you give us some explanation on that?
Well, it's pretty easy. The virus works by spreading from person to person, and the usual distance is 6 feet. So if you're less than 6 feet, and there's an outbreak, you're gonna have to consider all those people that were less than 6 feet away, okay? But if you are in a situation where you're screaming and yelling and outside, then sometimes that has to be considered a little bit longer space, because anytime you exhale or you're singing or doing anything that's projecting, that's why at the bar, so many people get infected so easily, because you're yelling and screaming, and you're drinking your beer, and your mask comes off. So all those things make it more easily for the virus to spread. So if you're outside and, you know, that's something to consider.
Okay.
But you're always better outside than you are inside, because inside, especially in a closed spot, not only will the virus transmit that way, but it can also get aerosolized into the air and hang out in the air longer. So that's another consideration.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Lentz. We appreciate you coming this evening.
Glad to be here.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman, those are the conclusion of my comments.
All right, board member comments, Mrs. McQuinn?
Just a very short one, but important. I spoke to Mr. Chuck Shaw, of course, our longtime former board member and board chair, that he has, after many months of hoops to jump through, actually, he's been confirmed by the Florida Senate to the Education Practices Commission. This is the commission that takes final disciplinary action on holders of Florida educator certificates. So I just want to congratulate Mr. Shaw, and I think congratulate him, more thank him for his continued service, and I can't think of anyone more qualified for this position.
Thank you, Mrs. McQuinn. Ms. Ayala?
None, thank you.
Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you, I have a visual. If I can get it down there without hurting anyone. Okay, so we always try to recognize our schools when they do something amazing. One of my schools did something really, really amazing, so I wanted to make sure to point it out. This is Boynton Beach High School. You can see that they are world champs. Let me read to you about what they're world champs on. Boynton Beach Aeronautical Science Academy, BASA, earned the first place recognition in the 2021 Aviation and Space Education Airport Design Challenge. The Airport Design Challenge, sponsored by Federal Aviation Administration, provides students with the opportunity to design virtual airports in Microsoft Minecraft. The designers received guidance from FAA aerospace and engineering experts. 1,200 students from 22 countries participated in this competition. Participating students met aviation professionals during the challenge and learned about the aerospace industry. This was a chance for Boynton Beach Community High School's BASA students to get firsthand experience in an aviation-related application of STEM concepts and careers. During the 5 weeks of organized lesson plans, participants reviewed topics ranging from airport layout, pavement, lighting structures, and innovative growth. Program facilitators used weekly knowledge check quizzes and screenshots of the students' designs to assess progress and provide feedback. Boynton Beach Community High School's BASA students not only took advantage of this incredible opportunity, they won the entire thing. Giovanna Messina, Sebastian Monroy, Victor Gill, and Michael Sports helped Boynton Beach Community High School earn worldwide recognition in the 2021 Aviation and Space Education FAA Airport Design Challenge to the top high school in the world. Congratulations to the BASA team members. Huge thank you to Dr. Anthony Lockhart, who is just a wonderful principal, and good job, Community High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Whitfield. Mrs. Andrews?
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. First, I want to say to the parents on both sides of the issues of mask mandates, I hear you and I'm listening to you. I know the entire school board have received your emails and have tried to respond to your many, many calls. It is your right to advocate on behalf of your children. It's a good day when we speak on behalf of your children. When you speak on behalf of your children, you're the main advocate. You know your child better than anyone else. We must answer to you as a school board. Students, parents, and community sits at the top of our organizational chart. We work for you. We are here to educate your children. And this is what you elected us to do. It was my pleasure to meet with a group of parents on last week to discuss their individual concerns as it related to COVID-19 policies, mask wearing, and so on. To hear personally the mothers and the fathers with babies and small children speak on behalf of their children. We must hear you. We must listen. It was an emotional time for me to listen to the individual details of mental, emotional, social, academic, and health issues of your children. As I pick up my phone and listen to the callers and emails each and every day of the problems of not wearing a mask, COVID-19, and how it impacts children, it's heartbreaking to hear those parents talk about how they're scared for their own children. So we must listen to both sides and come up with solutions that's going to help make children safe. And I would like to see vaccine events, just like I asked Dr. Alonso, that's happening in Miami, where schools are actually doing vaccines for those students 12 and above. And like Ms. Whitfield say, we can't wait to get the vaccines for the younger people so that we can get back to normal. We must work together as a school board with advice from different health organizations, the CDC. It was wonderful to see Dr. Alonso here today. And Dr. FENNOY, I'm still looking to hear from your Health Advisory Committee to provide information for the school board so that we can properly revise our policies and make decisions to help make students safe and healthy. And I want to again personally thank Dr. Alonso for being here tonight. And I'm hoping that when we have our school board meetings, each meeting we will update the public, update the board on where we are as it relates to COVID-19, because all of us want to get back to normal. And I have a couple of things I want to shout out. I want to shout out to Pahokee Middle Senior High School. Congratulations to you, Pahokee, for being selected one of America's best high schools of 2021 by U.S. News and World Report. Kudos, Mr. Denard, principal of Pahokee Middle Senior High School, and team. And today I had a chance to go to Glade Central, where they opened a muck market, where food will be provided to students as well as the staff and the community. And we are in a food desert right now where people need to eat. And this was sponsored by the Future Farmers of America. Ms. Orsino is the sponsor, and Ms. Bolden, the principal. It was so great to see all of that corn and all that food that's going to the students and the staff and the families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. Dr. Robinson?
Thank you. Just a brief comment to acknowledge one of our, and I'm gonna call him a superhero. He might not look like a superhero when you first see him, but I want to lift up and praise Mr. Jeremiah Stewart, who was able to intervene and prevent a catastrophe. Without going into any details, let me just say all of those who know, please, like, give him a pat on the back and lift him up, because things could have been so worse. The other thing I want to say about this is I hope that we are doing a critical incident review or whatever, because we have all these things in place to address mental health, but somehow we missed something. And if it was not for Mr. Stewart, things would be worse. And so I'm just hoping that we have a critical incident review and that information is provided to the board. If there's something that we need to do in terms of budgetary allocation to make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen again. I thought we had the tools in place, but apparently this one slipped through the cracks, and I don't want to risk it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Vice Chair Brill.
Thank you. I just want to start off by thanking Mrs. Andrews for bringing up the subject of our listening to all the families on both sides of the question. I know how I feel about masks, but I have to listen and make decisions and balance my decisions. And so I appreciate everybody that has reached out. And it's just impossible to answer all the emails. It's hundreds coming in every day, but I can assure you we read them. So tonight, since we do have a lot on the agenda, I just want to take time in my remarks to thank our lobbyist, Rita Solnit. Her contract is under the consent agenda tonight, and I have to say that Ms. Solnit has been my go-to person, boots on the ground, ready to assist whenever I call. Not only has she kept us up to date on the legislation coming out of Washington, she has also thoroughly yet concisely helped explain the myriad of bills being proposed in Tallahassee throughout session whenever I needed that information. She has been a wonderful resource, and I want to recognize her not only for her efforts, but for her willingness to be available 24/7 to us. She has consistently gone above and beyond. And so I just publicly want to say thank you, Ms. Solnit. I never get to say that to you, but I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. I agree with you. Ms. Solnit's done a great job, and I believe she's on with us by virtual tonight, just in case there was any questions for her later. She's there available. So for those of you that don't normally join us for school board meetings, there's usually one more seat that's occupied up here, and that's by our student council representative. We have the county council of student councils as a president, and that president joins the 7 school board members and joins in our discussions. And although he doesn't vote, or he doesn't vote with us, we do give him the opportunity to speak on behalf of the students in the district, to bring us the student views on items that we're discussing. That young man is Santiago Alvarez, and he's graduating. He's a graduating senior from Boca Raton Community High School. And I was able to, Mr. Alvarez couldn't be here this evening, but I was able to visit with him on Monday at his school. So Mr. Murray, if you would show that brief video presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Santiago Alvarez. I am a senior here at Boca Raton Community High School. Pi over 3. Yes. And I had the honor of being the student representative to the school board this past year.
I am excited to soon introduce a new idea that I have been working on to allow for students to be more well represented.
I just want to say thank you to the school board. Having this position has given me a range of experiences, memories. I've gotten to represent the students.
In a time like this, it is important to come together and share our best practices so that every single school can succeed.
Mr. Alvarez attended every one of our board meetings. He was a very effective part of the school board this year, and helped us come to decisions. So congratulations, and thank you for everything you've done for us.
Being presented with this award today by Mr. Barbieri meant a lot to me. It definitely represents the work that I've gotten to do.
James Madison, your favorite.
I can say that Palm Beach County School District does their best to definitely impact the students in a positive way and make going through elementary, middle, and high school the best experience possible. And to the school board, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done for me. Thank you for listening to me and for giving me the opportunity to serve. And I hope to see you guys in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Are you here with us? Can you hear us?
I am here. Thank you so much for that video. Well, thank you. It's really been an honor to get to serve on the school board with you guys. I can definitely wholeheartedly say that it's been one of the best experiences of my life and has taught me so much. I want to thank the board for having me back. Last meeting was my official last meeting with my full report in person, but I did want to come back and inform the board. The county has held our county elections where we elect the county president, who's also, as Mr. Barbieri said, serves as the student representative to the school board. We elected Boca High as the, once again, as the new county president. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Logan Harrigan, who is the new county president and new student representative to the school board, and she will be giving a few remarks.
Hi everyone, I know that's some big shoes to fill, but my name is Logan Harrigan, and I just want to say that I'm looking forward to what next year has to offer. I hope to carry out the student subcommittee under the superintendent created by my predecessor, Santiago Alvarez. I hope to represent the students of Palm Beach County in the school board and get to know all of you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Congratulations, Ms. Harrigan. We look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Alvarez, good luck to you at University of Florida. I'm sure you'll be an exceptional student there. You were great here. So the school board wishes you the best of luck. Ms. Harrigan, we'll see you in the fall.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to the whole board and the superintendent. Thank you, guys.
The only other item I have, board members, is as you all know, at this meeting every month, we recognize those of our employees who have passed away. So I'd like to take an opportunity to do that at this point. First, we have James Bonner. He was a music teacher at Northborough Elementary. He was born in 1959 and died in April of 2021. Robert Gilmore, an ESE teacher coordinator at Watson B. Duncan Middle School. He was born in 1952 and died in April of 2021. Diane Henry, maintenance service representative for maintenance and plant operations. She was born in 1982 and she died in April of 2021. Virginia Kavanaugh, she was an English teacher in secondary school at Boynton Beach High School. She was born in 1972 and she died in March of 2021. And Joseph Sejour, custodian at Lake Worth High School. He was born in 1955 and he died in March of 2021. If we could take a moment to remember these employees and their families.
Mr. Barbieri.
Who's
May I add one more person, please?
Go ahead, Mrs. Andrews.
Thank you for personal privilege. In memorial, Damon Weaver, former Canal Point Elementary School journalist and graduate of Royal Palm Beach High School, passed away of natural causes at the age of 23. He had great interviewing skills from Canal Point Elementary. We saw him grow from a little boy. He was able to obtain an interview with President Obama, Senator at the time Joe Biden, Dwayne Wade of the Miami Heat, and the famous Oprah Winfrey. He attended Albany State College in Georgia, just getting ready to graduate. I want to thank Mr. Brian Zimmerman of Canal Point Elementary School, who mentored him from elementary right on up to his time of death. We love Damon Weaver. We pray for his family. He was a superstar kid in the school district of Palm Beach County, and may he rest in peace.
All right, if we could have a moment to remember these people and their families. Thank you all very much. At this time, board members, we have, I just want to give you an idea of what kind of speakers, the number of speakers. We have 104 speakers on agenda items that'll take 6 hours and 50 minutes. We have 1 hour and 50 minutes of recorded speakers. So basically we have 7 hours of speakers we're going to listen to tonight. I'd like to entertain a motion to have the agenda speakers speak when we get to the agenda items. So if I could have a motion to that effect. Motion by Dr. Robinson, seconded by Mrs. Whitfield. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That'll take us to, there is no student government report, committee reports, academic advisory. I see none. These are recorded.
Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, school board members, Dr. FENNOY, and staff. My name is Laura Feldman. I am honored to speak with you tonight as the chair of the Academic Advisory Committee. I would like to thank the committee members representing the Coalition for Black Student Achievement, Palm Beach State College, the Hispanic Education, Coalition, Palm Beach County Council of PTAs, PTSAs, and school board member Ayala's appointee, all of whom took the time to come to the meeting. However, the other appointees did not attend, so we were unable to conduct the main meeting since we did not have a quorum present in person. Without the quorum, we were unable to listen to any presentations or unable to hold any discussions. Our next meeting will be in August. I hope that we will see more of our committee members in person then. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next committee to report is the Audit Committee. There's an attached report from Audit. The Construction Oversight Review Committee has also submitted a report that's attached to the agenda. And we have the Chair of the District Diversity and Equity Committee here to report. Please come up to the podium.
Good evening, Chair Barbieri, board members, Superintendent FENNOY, staff, and everyone in your respective places. Charmaine Postal, Chair of District Diversity and Equity Committee. On April 22nd, the District Diversity and Equity met, and we had a quorum, also a great meeting. We had a presentation by Dr. LaCava and Edwin Michael, presented the Teacher and School Leader TSL grant overview. The video of the recording is presented on the school board website. Our next DDEC meeting is next week, Thursday, May 27th at 9 a.m. As always, anyone can attend those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Postal. The next committee, General Counsel, do you have a report this evening?
I do not.
Inspector General Michael?
I do not.
So that'll take us to the we'll take delegates and elected officials. James Gavrillos, President and CEO of the Education Foundation. Please come up to the podium. After that, Jen Martinez, President of the Florida PTA.